welcome to FGME Cast for your Thursday night, which means it is ANZCAR Cup night. And tonight we head to Atlanta for the second night in a row, being their last night with the Xfinity Series. Tonight we are looking to see Andrew Dyson had a really strong run at Road America last week where he did take out the win. Can he back it up here tonight at Atlanta? It's going to be a tough one with high track temperatures. His right-hand front tyre is gonna cop a pounding. So let's get into it. Let's roll the intro and let's see how this one plays out tonight on FGME Cast. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to FGME Cast, presenting the ANZCAR Cup Series. And, spine-tingling intro. That was almost as good as seeing football start to make its way home this morning. But we're not here for that, Carl. We're here for ANZCAR Cup at Atlanta. Again, back for the second night in a row. And welcome to the stream.
Yes, good evening, Stuart. Good evening, everybody. And indeed, we are back here at Atlanta Motor Speedway for another round, this time in the Cup cars. So a little bit faster, a little bit more downforce, much more power than we had last night in the Xfinity, and a few more laps as well. We're going to be doing 130 laps around this grueling place. So expect to see some, it's going to be a two-stopper tonight, I'd say. Very much doubt anyone was going to try for a single stop tonight. It's going to be a bit grueling, but we'll soon be proven wrong about that, no doubt.
I was going to say, that's a big call after last night. We saw the single stop work for Andrew, not for Andrew Dyson, my apologies, for
Brenton Hobson.
I was about to say, help me out here, Carl, with the names tonight. Brenton Hobson, sorry, Brenton, it's been a long day, mate, a long couple of days. But we did see Hobbo last night take out the win with a single stop, so never know if the caution periods fall favourably. We might see it again, maybe. We'll see how it goes, but certainly plenty of drivers returning tonight as well. Got Neil Pearson back in the fold. Dave Douglas returns from his sojourn. I don't even know how to say that word, but that French word for trip or break, whatever it was. He's back as well, so running in the series tonight. And we've got Bobby J, 089 as he's going to be known, Bobby Jovanovic. We weren't going to roll that one out during the stream too much, so Bobby J is what he's being called, joining for the first time tonight, so welcome to the series, Bobby.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he goes first time racing out tonight for Jovanovic. I'll try and say it once and then we'll just go back to Bobby J for the rest of the night. So the obligatory single term name use is in there. And sojourn, of course, the word you're looking for. There for Dave Douglas, having a bit of his usual mid-season holiday for Double D, and enjoying himself laying out on the couch, I believe.
Carl, I can't lie, mate. It's not often that you help me out with the language, but thank you very much. I've been up, as I said, from the wee small ones this morning and yesterday morning, of course, watching the football, and worthwhile as Englishmen, it's certainly worthwhile for us, but we said we don't need to talk about that, so it's not. Jason Martin on screen at the moment, currently in P3 in warm-up, and he had a strong run on Monday night in the truck series as well, just looking the break there on the way into pit lane, just getting that practice in, because as we know, it can be difficult, particularly under cautions, getting into pit lane. A great view of the timing tower there. Thank you for that camera angle, but it can be difficult getting into pit lane when it is full, so just a little bit of practice there, even for one of the most experienced men in ANZCAR.
Indeed, and just quickly before we start, we'll just run through the championship standings as of 20 rounds. So we're on 21 rounds tonight. Josh Mickelmore is in first place, 718 points. 53 points down is Jason Martin in second. Michael Skurlock in third, 63 points off the lead. Fourth is Hamish Gallagher, 71 off the lead. Fifth, Danny G, 82. Sixth is Neil Pearson's 84 off the lead. Seventh for Edward Foster, 93 off the lead. 121 off the lead for Dyson. Raymond in ninth, 132 down. 154 down for Trahair in 10th position. Yeah, and the reason we have that separate qualifying is because it is a 30-car field for the Cup Series. If you are new to the Cup Series, 30-car field locked for this one, so you have to either have a very clean race the race before to ensure you get into this one, or make a good qualifying position. It's very important to have those working out for you. Looks like Neil Pearson may have had a bit of a problem at the start, so there seems to be a couple of people dropped out of the server, so there seems to be some server issues, unfortunately.
Yeah, it looks like Neil Pearson, Adam Rosell, and Aidan Schultz, although Rosell's in pit lane. Aidan Schultz out as well at the moment, so we'll see if they can get back in quickly and start from pit lane, perhaps.
Yeah, hopefully they can jump back in, because they're going to be coming around very shortly to take the start of this race. I think Neil Pearson is back into the server at least, so he'll be able to start from pit lane, but that's not what he would want to have happen. So Andrew Dyson is going to lead away here. The pit lane, the pace car is going to peel into pit lane. Dyson's going to become the leader, and we are going to be going green here at Atlanta Motor Speedway for round 21 of the ANZCAR Cup here on FGM eCast.
And we get away to a good start here. Andrew Dyson off down on the low line. We saw that pretty effective last night in the Xfinity Series. Philip Worley has moved up behind him. Edward Foster looking to slot in as well. The Mitch Motorsport boys of Josh Mickelmore and Justin Martin just lining up behind one another. They got a good start as well. And it looks like that Jaden Russell and Lachlan Urquio have gone with them as well.
Yeah, good, clean start at the moment. A few people trying to get a few positions up a bit further down the field. JCW is one of them with Hamish Gallagher. They're charging up through the field at the moment, just getting past Danny G. JCW getting about 4 or 5 positions on that opening lap. Good charge from him, but Andrew Dyson is holding a good lead at the moment at the front of the field. You can see in there in your picture, Dyson holding a good position out the front at the moment.
Yeah, indeed. He'll be looking to manage. This will be back-to-back for him, so he will certainly be looking to run this one to the line in the 041 entry. Andrew Dyson having a really, really strong season, so see how he gets on. It looks like Adam Rosell, Neil Pearson, and even Aidan Schultz potentially has made it back into the server, so Adam Rosell back on the lead lap. Unfortunately, it looks like Neil Pearson has dropped a lap, so hopefully he can get that back. If there are any caution periods early in this race, don't want anyone's race disturbed by that sort of activity. So Philip Worley in second place, got Edward Foster just sitting on his right rear panel at the moment. Foster gets a good run out there. There's a little bit of too wide further back in the pack. Let's have a look at it at the moment. We've got Michael Skurlock and Joshua Carroll-Walden fighting. Factors, of course, as I've changed, there is a change for position at the front, and it is in second place. Edward Foster moving up on Philip Worley.
Yeah, managing to get that position. Unfortunately, Aidan Schultz isn't able to get back connected. He can't get back into the server. There's something going on there, unfortunately. So the string of bad luck continues for Aidan Schultz. This time it is the internet gods that have cursed some dispersion on him. A real shame to see it happen. Aidan Schultz getting a good qualifying position up in the midfield there. Hopefully he might be able to get back in and at least score some points and have a clean race. Meanwhile, Foster is all over the back of Andrew Dyson up the front, so So we've got a battle for the lead at the moment, but there are battles all across the field at the moment. Danny G's trying to hold off his teammate Hamish Gallagher down in 11th and 12th at the moment, with a fast charging Matty Raymond getting down the inside in the 83. Matty Ray trying to keep that car clean tonight. He had a little scrape of damage on there last night, so he lost the moniker of Mr. Sheen for at least one race. Will he be able to keep it tonight?
Pretty early on, I think Bobby J is going to be a favourite of yours, Carl. Of course, running that Supra-based livery in the 089 entry. 089 entry? 083? Yeah, apologies, 089 entry there. So he's faring really well. It's only one position down on his starting position, currently running with Stevie Williams and Dave Douglas behind him, as well as Luke Traher and Mirko Dornak. So there's a little bit of a train here forming behind the Mitch Motorsport teammates of Danny G and Hamish Gallagher.
Yeah, those Mitch Motorsport cars are going to want to try and work together a little bit. You can see Jaden Russell is all over the back of Josh Micklemore at the moment between the two teammates. So they are still battling out. So we'll see how that one keeps going.
As there is a pass for the lead here, Edward Foster out in front in the 53. Bridgestone Select Natari Autosport entry. So he's just opening up a little bit of a gap here on Dyson Worley. Edward Foster, a very experienced campaigner, of course. Might be a little bit of saving here from Dyson. He might have jumped in and had a look at the race last night. His DPR boys work very hard as well to make sure they're prepped for the race meeting. So there'll be a little bit of strategy here potentially. But we'll keep an eye on the prize there, which at the moment has Edward Foster's name on it.
Yeah, look, we saw last night that saving a little bit of tyre life could be crucial for tonight. One person that might be in a good shout with that is Luke Traher. He's down in 17th position at the moment in the Way Down sponsored machine. Of course, the Way Down podcast for any of your mixed martial arts fighting needs and wants to listen to that one, run by Mr. Traher himself. But he's very good at tyre saving, Luke, so expect to see him come in a bit more alive later in this race.
Yeah, I was having a look at Luke's live stream on, I think it might have even been Saturday last week. I jumped on board with him while he was doing some of the truck official series, and he was explaining to me that he does love the long run, enjoys the strategy behind pushing people's boundaries in terms of the tyres and having a better run late in the stint. So short finishes and stuff like that, green white checkers don't necessarily suit him, and he enjoys the long run. So that will suit him here tonight if he can manage his tyres in the pack. Yeah,
and we've seen that Dyson has been pretty good at tyre saving in the past. He's done some great runs and great fuel saving with that as well. Lachlan Oakville as well, keep an eye for him. He had some good speed in the Xfinity cars last night as well, and he's got some good speed again tonight as well. He's just getting past Matty Raymond there. He has got Stephen Williams just behind him at the moment. And just in front of him is Bobby J in the, as you say, lovely Supra liveried Camry.
I know you do enjoy that one, Carl. 350 at Michael Skurlock here under pressure from the 35 of Joshua Carroll-Walden, second in the Natari Autosport entries. And he's just got a little bit of pressure there from JCW. JCW's got to be due for a good run tonight, so he's just sticking with Skurley here. Skurley, of course, finishing second last night by the skin on his chin. He ran out of fuel and just managed to get home in second place.
Yeah, it was so close. It was a disaster for JCW. He ran out of fuel with about a lap and a half to go, pretty much had to come into pit lane just to top it up, and lost a lot of positions from that one. So it was a big shame for JCW last night, but he is definitely looking for a good result with over 200 starts in the ANZCAR League now. He's wanting to get a good result to celebrate that one, because he has not had... He's not had the best results this season, unfortunately, and we know JCW can be very fast when he is on the game. So, as always, keep a bit of an eye out for him. Another car to keep an eye out for in this race is probably going to be Ruben Phelps. He's down in 23rd position at the moment in the Crank Esports car. That wonderful orange and black livery that they've got recently. But we saw last night Ruben was very good at saving fuel and saving those tyres, and he had a really good final run. I was listening to some of the chat after the race, and apparently Ruben had a little bit of fuel left in there, so he could have gone a bit harder a bit earlier and possibly gained a couple of extra positions, but he was just being a little bit cautious last night. but he was definitely up there. Meanwhile, the front of the pack has really closed up. Foster has got Dyson right on the back of him, and it goes down to Barry Neal at the moment. Lachlan, Barry Neal and Michael Skurlock, Michael Skurlock closing up to the back of this fight, less than a second between those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. The other one I was thinking about talking of course, is Neil Pearson as well. If there is a caution early in this race, he's going to get the Joker. He'll be on the way through. The lucky dog, I should say. He'll be on the way through and back on the lead lap. And that's Neil's obviously extremely fast, so that would be good news for him. So he'll be praying a little bit for that. He's closing up on the back of sort of in the midfield a little bit here, but he's would very much benefit from a early caution.
Yeah, a bit of a disaster with that server issue. Unfortunately, sometimes these things happen. It's like a mechanical problem in full metal racing, unfortunately. You just have to accept it sometimes. Unfortunately, these things do happen, and often at the worst possible time. But Pearson having a good qualifying session up there in second place. Disaster to have happened with that, dropping him all the way back to the back of the pack. And as I said a little bit earlier on, unfortunate to see Aidan Schultz drop out as well. He could not get back in the server despite trying a fair few times, and is unfortunately out of this one. So big shame there, because he's been having a good run of races recently.
Yeah, absolutely has. He got a podium recently in the trucks, so he would have been wanting to get into this one, but be that as it may, unfortunately not to be his night. So just another couple of changes of position here. We've got Bobby J again fighting with Matty Ray, and he's made up a position there as well. So Steve Williams is in the hunt now for another change in position as well, as Hamish Gallagher just makes his way past Joshua Carroll-Walden. He's up 6 spots already, and they're battling away. Hamish down on the inside there.
Yeah, we've got a couple of battles going on at the same time, with Hamish and JCW fighting away. Matty Ray has just managed to put the move on Bobby J there, and Lachlan Urquhart is going to try and follow him through. At the front, meanwhile, we've got Josh Micklemore down the inside of Jaden Russell at the moment. He's going to try and put the move on here as they go too wide from the outside, and that's going to give Jason Martin a good run. You're going to see Jason Martin try and peel up there. Can't quite take advantage of it this lap, but they will resettle and then go back for the attack. You can use a little bit of the draft to your advantage here, because it is a fairly fast track, Atlanta. It's going to get faster next year when they add a little bit more banking, but they are making it a bit more narrow as well, unfortunately. So big changes next year, but we get to enjoy the track as it is this year out. A bit warm on the track as well. It's 48 degrees Celsius at the moment, so track temperature will be a bit of a thing. You'll see the guys running a little bit higher, I think, for this opening stint. Now they're going to run a little bit higher to try and keep those tyres a little bit less tattered. So they'll be doing their best to keep those tyres a little bit more alive by running up a little bit higher. And what you do with that is you just don't turn the wheel quite as hard. It means you're not putting as much stress through the tyres, and you're not burning off the rubber as much.
Yeah, absolutely. Edward Foster still out in the lead here. Dyson did make his way up back onto the back, I should say, of Edward Foster, but not quite able to do much more than that at this point in time. That may suit him. He won't have to push quite as hard, but Dyson there with Foster. What lap we're looking at here, Carl? Probably around lap 30, I imagine, in terms of fuel window. That's when it probably starts to open.
The sort of first stops, they might look at around about lap 35, 40, just to try and push it a little bit longer. Obviously, the tyres will start feeling a little bit worse for wear as well at that sort of stage. Probably about 35, 40, I'd say people will start sort of thinking about coming into pit lane and try and break the race into sort of 3 separate sort of stints. Effectively, there's a good battle going on between Dave Douglas and Bobby J at the moment, a little bit further down the field. Dave Douglas is right down the inside. He's got that low line locked down at the moment, but Dave Douglas is doing, as usual, a good job of working his way through the field. And you can see Luke Trahere just behind them with Justin Witcher as well. Justin Witcher has had some good runs recently too. Mirko Dortnack and Raymond Yeager in that group too.
Got a new livery for Justin Witcher tonight?
It is, yes.
Yeah, very smart. I was just about to say, Dave Douglas livery, I love it. Luke Hare, I think, is probably my favourite livery at the moment. I love what his paint shop has done for him there. I think you may remember the name, Carl. Was it...
that's asking a lot.
Something designs. Anyway, there is Luke. If you like the paintwork, he had someone do it for him, and I know he would love to give him a plug. I just can't quite remember their name at the moment, but he got that one done. It looks fantastic. But yeah, loving the new Justin Witcher livery as well. That looks very, very spiffy. So the guys dressing the cars up here as we get towards the chase and starting to make things look a little bit tidier. I love it.
Splash and Go graphics. There we go.
Excellent. Thank you very much for pulling up. So Splash and Go Graphics did this design here. It looks fantastic. I might have to give him a call to get him to dress up the new the GT3 Porsche and maybe the Commodore. Looks brilliant. Good job.
Yeah, it's a nice, vibrant-looking car as well, and that's something that is important on streams. I mean, there's some really nice, vibrant options out there. One of my favourites all season long, you just see a little bit further back in that battle, as we just switched away, was the Aratora cars of Paul Jackson and Barry Neal. That very vibrant orange with the beautiful Maori livery on it as well. The New Zealand-based team there with that beautiful car, very, very striking, stands out and looks good on a broadcast.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
that was the idea about the papaya and oranges of the past. Was it stood out quite well and made the cars easier to spot for the broadcasters and looked good on colour TV as well.
The other one that I noticed that's changed tonight as well is Jaden Russell. So he's gone with the Steve Williams inspired all black livery.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's a new paint scheme or if that's because it's the Cup race, because I don't recall if Jaden was running his usual design in the Cup series. I know he runs the...
That's their similar, that inverted colour look to Hobbo, because they're teammates. He normally runs that sort of goldy white mix, but yeah, it's just a different livery as well that I noticed. So,
as just a bit further back, Barry Neal has gone up into the wall. Big impact for Neal. That is absolutely written off the front of that car and made a bit of a pig's meal of the Aratora Racing car, unfortunately. Just as we were talking about that beautiful livery, it goes up and catches the wall there.
Bobby J has jumped into pit lane as well. He's really got to get that camera reset. That's a terrible angle. He's clipped the wall as well. You can see a little bit of damage on the right-hand front corner, the right-hand rear corner of the 089 entry. So run in and get a little bit of that fixed up now and get his stop done. I think he might have just missed his bay there as well, unfortunately. So he's just got that backed up. Those mechanics might want to get a move on there. Just standing having a gas bag. That won't be very much appreciated. As he's jumped into pit lane under green, so he'll go a lap down now. And it's unfortunate for him. He had a really good start to the race as well. So disappointing there for Bobby J.
Yeah, look, that's the thing. It's troublesome sometimes. I mean, it's the hard thing jumping into a new series sometimes, and especially jumping into the Cup, it can be tricky. Meanwhile, Dyson's having a good run on Foster up the front, but he showed good pace, which is a really good start. As Dyson jumps down the inside, he's going to try for that inside line into turn number 1 as they go across the quad oval section, and Dyson's going to make the move down the inside. I think Dyson's just been saving those tyres a little bit towards the end of the sort of stint, so he's probably got a little bit more tyre available to him, and he can run that lower line with a little bit more ease than Foster, who seems to be very content running that higher line at the moment, not putting up too much of a fight as it stands. This early in the race, we're 30 laps into 130 right now, so there's no point in absolutely frying your tyres off defending and battling away too hard, because that's just going to cost you more and more as the race goes on. Of course, when you fry these tyres up, it really hurts you later in the race, and it's much easier to keep a tyre alive for a longer period than it is to bring a tyre back to life.
You just see there the teammates using it to good advantage, just holding Foster up a little bit on the high line there, and Worley getting a really good run out of the corner, moving up into second place now. So Edward Foster just drops back to third. It's not terminal by any stretch of the imagination. It's too early in the race for any of that sort of magic.
And just jumping back a little bit in the pack to Neil Pearson, he's currently charging his way. He's just got past Justin Witcher. He is a lap down in the number 9 machine, the number 9 DPR Simrigs entry. So he has to pass these guys once and then do it another time when he gets around again. But he is working his way through the field quite well at the moment. He's definitely pushing and using up as much tyre as possible at the moment. He's not sitting back and just hoping for things to happen. He's trying to make them happen for him. Meanwhile, Bobby J looks like he has disconnected. Unfortunately, it looks like he might be the second retirement of the night.
Yeah, it's a shame. Definitely hope he comes back into the series for another crack at it. I think he would be well placed.
Yeah, good performance in his first entry, but unfortunately just a slight mistake. Easy to do here at Atlanta. You do run that high line and it is very easy to run up high here. All of a sudden that all comes up very close to you and then you just eat a little bit of that concrete and that's all she wrote. Meanwhile, up the front, we've got a great battle going on between Jaden Russell and Josh Micklemore. Jason Martin. Jason Martin trying to get down the inside. Jaden Russell trying to get up the inside of Josh Micklemore. Those guys are fighting it out tooth and nail at the moment. And this is Leighton Skurlock just creep onto the back of them. He is just holding on. He's just lurking around like a sort of a Welsh goblin at the moment, just sitting back there, watching what's going on and waiting for his opportunity to pounce.
Yeah, it's close right up at the front here, in fact, with the front three, Worley, Dyson and Foster. Dyson's got a little bit of a stretch now, but Foster's down on the low line trying to get his way past Philip Worley again, and then you've got Micklemore, Russell, Martin and Skurlock joining on as they get really close there, Worley and Foster on the exit of turn 2, and I think they might have touched a bit there because you can see Josh Micklemore just getting a run on Edward Foster as well, just lost a little bit of speed out of it, where they just had to get out of the gas to make sure that they didn't there was no contact.
Foster loses the rear end again. What happened there was Foster caught the apron, just stepped the back end out a little bit, and I think he's heated up those rear tyres. You can see that car's starting to struggle with rear grip on the exit of the corner, so he's just got to wait for those rear tyres just to ease off a little bit. That car is just getting a little bit wobbly mid-corner at the moment, and he's losing a lot of speed there. He's just dropped from second all the way down to fifth at the moment, and looks like Skurlock's going to try and make a move on him relatively soon as well. Those rear tyres, I think, have just started to get a little bit warm on Foster's car. He's just going to have to settle it back down and then go for another attack. He has got a bit of a gap between himself and Danny G at the moment, who's heading up the second field with Hamish Gallagher, his teammate, and JCW, of course, Foster's teammate there as well. Stephen Williams, Stevie Dubb there in the DPR car in 11th place, just on the back of this secondary pack as it stands.
Yeah, so he'll cool off and go again.
Jason Martin making the move on Russell at the moment. Martin on the inside. He's going to try and get that position, slide up in front of Russell, get that position claimed for himself, and then link up with his teammate.
He gets it done, so solid effort there from him. They'll just work together, those two, no doubt. We're very, very used to seeing Martin and Micklemore working together during a race. As Foster looks like he's decided that the tyres are cooled off enough. As he gets down underneath Jaden Russell, it's very, very close between the two. Russell gives him a little bit of room. Skurlock now just doing skirly things in the background there, trying to see if he can find a way through.
Yeah, he's just sitting back there and just letting these guys battle and race hard with each other, while he's just not putting too much effort through the tyres. He had last night to sort of get an idea of what was happening in the race, and I think tonight he's just holding back a little bit, not pushing as hard as he needs to. However, Danny G and Hamish Gallagher are starting to close up to the back of them, so they're going to have to start making a little bit of a move soon. It's up the front. Jason Martin, Josh Micklemore, Andrew Dyson and Philip Worley have started to make a little bit of a break away. And just a bit of a mention to Philip Worley as well. Less experienced on the ovals, so another good run from Worley. We've seen some really good races from him this season and really pushing Dyson, especially on the road courses. A lot more experience, of course, on the road courses, but he has been improving leaps and bounds on the ovals as well.
Yeah, just working together. So it's DPR 1-2, and we've got Mitch Motorsport 3-4. So the teams battling here.
A little bit further back, Barry Neal's dropped back to 19th position with that damage on the front of his car, and he's dropped back to his teammate Paul Jackson. He's there with Raymond Yeager, Phil Otto, Tristan Koch, Nigel Patton, and of them in that little group. So there are a few little cars in that little fight at the moment, and they're just sort of in their own little battle as it stands.
And if we jump up a little bit further, as Michael Skurlock looks like he's under pressure here from Danny G. No, in fact, he's not. It's the other way around. He's on his way past Edward Foster at the front. And I tell you what, Josh Mickelmore is pushing as well. He's right on the back of Philip Worley. So this battle up the front, he continues to rage. We're on lap 42 of 130. Pit stop's not too far away. So who is it going to be who blinks first? Get that fresh set of tyres on. It's Mickelmore there, just pushing up on the back of Philip Worley. He's trying to get down underneath there. Jason Martin's trying to do the same thing as they cut across the triangle on their way through.
It's right here that you see who has saved their tyres a little bit towards the end of the stint and who hasn't. And you can see that those Mitch cars look to have saved a little bit more tyre than the rest of that group at the moment because they're got a little bit more pace than everybody else. I think we're going to see a few people pitting in at the moment. I'm pretty sure I saw Maddie Raymond coming in. So we've got the first of our stoppers coming in, and that's Maddie Ray. So I expect to see a few more people come in. Of course, you do run the risk of that caution flag flying. So you've got to be a little bit careful if you do pit a little bit early, as we see just Jason Martin making a move on Worley now, getting down on the inside side by side with Worley and Jason Martin there. Martin's got that inside line. He's going to try and make it work. Worley will have the better run off the corner, but Martin seems to have a little bit more tyre life available. Can just take out lower line, and he's got his option of the teammates. They just make contact there. Worley and Martin, slightest touch. You can see they're on board with Jason Martin, just that little bit of a wiggle. So very close between those two cars. Great save from Jason Martin. He's dropped back behind Jaden Russell at the moment, but that could have been a big accident right there. So good save from him. Just a slightest little love tap from Worley. Nothing that's going to cause too much issue. And of course, NASCAR and stock car racing, you know, a little bit of a love tap here and there is not a bad thing to have happen.
No, not at all. It's part of the deal. So just looking through the field here. This as well for the third week running, the replay not working on this stream. Just this one in particular, so apologies for that if there are any incidents with not going to be able to bring you a replay again. Get that fixed during the week before the next round, but they've got Ruben Phelps here who's under attack from Justin Witcher. So as we're getting towards pit stop territory, Witcher and Phelps about a second up the road from Trahere, Douglas and Dortnack in the next pack. Then we've got Jackson, Jaeger and Otto running in another group. So we've got packs of 3 cars at the moment, as most of the action remains at the front of the pack, albeit JCW and Stephen Williams in the 98 DPR entry battling. This is for position 10.
Yeah, still some good battles going throughout the field, but a lot of them have just settled into that single file pace at the moment, just not pushing too hard. Maddie Raymond is currently the fastest car out on track, unsurprisingly on those fresh tyres, 31.7 that last time round compared to a 33.4 for the leaders. So you can see the speed difference on those fresh tyres, quite a bit of advantage. JCW is making a move on Stephen Williams at the moment. JCW just gets up and past Stevie Dub and up into 10th position. Those two having a good little battle a bit further down. And you can see Hamish Gallagher in front of them and Danny G are sort of a bit in no man's land at the moment. Meanwhile, Neil Pearson is just getting passed by Maddie Raymond. So Maddie Raymond's just gained his position back on Neil Pearson, who did go a lap down earlier on due to connectivity issues. Maddie Raymond on those fresh tyres. I think Pearson's going to be pitting soon as well, because he's probably used up all the life in that tyre that is left. So he's probably going to be coming in relatively soon as well. And I think we're going to see a glut of cars coming into pit lane in the next 5 laps, I'd say.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me whatsoever, as Pearson does exactly what you tell him to do, and in he comes.
Almost clairvoyant there. I will claim that rather than rather than noticing it on my driver tracker. Hamish Gallagher just making a little bit of a mistake, catching the wall while he's running up high. That's going to cost him in the race, unfortunately. A little bit of a wrinkle on the front of that car. That's going to give JCW the opportunity to catch up. So close for Matty Raymond there. Matty Raymond almost going into the back of JCW. That was almost a big accident there. JCW a little bit unsighted. He didn't realise that Matty Raymond was on those fresh tyres and just got caught out a little bit there. The fast charging Matty Raymond came past him. Good awareness by all of those drivers to stop that from being an almighty accident.
Yeah, indeed. So far, I've only had a couple of drivers jump through pit lane, so we're just waiting to see 52 laps through who is going to jump into pit lane. If they get to lap 60, they're probably going to fancy themselves if there's a caution period to make it through to the end on a single stop, you would think. So we'll see how we go here.
We did, as I did predict, it's probably going to be a two-stopper tonight. They're all going to prove me wrong by doing a single stopper tonight. So expect to see that happening. If they do get to lap 60 to 65, that's the critical lap. 65 is the big one tonight. If you can get to lap 65, you can make it to the end. Jason Martin, meanwhile, is trying to make a bit of a move on Jaden Russell. He is all over the back of him, and you can see Matty Raymond is just catching up to this group, and he's just going to go sailing past on those fresh tyres. So he is just going to fly past and show all these guys up the front what fresh tyres look like. And go, look guys, look what you're missing out on. Look at how much fun I'm having on these fresh tyres. You should all pit as well. As he sails down underneath the pack of leaders, and he's going to come up to Andrew Dyson in no time. So we'll soon be sailing up past Dyson, I reckon, without too much issue at all. Dyson's just going to let him pass, not put up too much of a battle. Not much point in fighting for that position because you're just going to cost yourself time at the end of the day. But that has broken things up a little bit behind him. As you can see, Jason Martin down the inside of Jaden Russell. And Josh Micklemore just fighting with Philip Worley just a little bit further ahead. Those battles are still going on. You can see just there Michael Skurlock as well, right on the back of this pack too. Foster's dropped off a tiny bit towards Danny G. Looks like he's struggling a little bit more with his tyre wear. Leading that early stint, running a little bit faster, may have cost him a little bit of tyre life. But it's going to be an interesting one now to see is who can go the longest, who can make it to that critical lap. Who can make it to half distance now and try and make it to the end of the race? That's going to be the deciding factor, I think.
Yeah, it was going to be an interesting one. If they get this far towards the end of the race, it'll be really, really loose. So, see what happens there. Aidan Schultz jumped into the chat, just asking who were our picks for tonight. Who are you fancying, Carl? Almost halfway through the race.
Well, if it didn't have internet connections, and Aidan Schultz was guaranteed to win this race, so unfortunately my pick went out early. I've got to say Andrew Dyson at the moment, he has been driving very well recently. He has been fast, been consistent, and been showing just a really good pace on these ovals.
Yeah, it is hard to go past him. Josh Micklemore's probably due as well. So we'll see how they go. I'm going to go with Josh, see if he can get the run home here. The DPR guy's looking strong. So it's all about making it to that lap 65, if not a little bit further if you can. So we'll see how this one pans out on ANZCAR Cup Thursday evening on FGM E-Cast. Looks like Michael Skurlock here, just getting the move done underneath. Jaden Russell there, just going to and fro for position. Just said Skurley's probably he did focus last night in the post race on the fact that he didn't. He just got in and ran yesterday, and probably could have managed a little better with the single stop, but didn't really think about the fact that it was possible. So he will have learnt a lot last night from that, I imagine, and really be managing his race tonight to make sure that he's in contention to win this one. And certainly in good position so far.
He's going to be trying his absolute best this night. I think he felt like he feels like it was one that got away last night. He had that sort of had that vibe about him last night in the interview. It was almost like that one that got away, which is often the feeling, as you see Foster just dropping back a bit there. And just losing a little bit of speed in the mid-corner. That's giving Danny G the chance to get right up onto the back of him. Danny G's going to come charging through shortly. As behind him, you've got Gallagher, Stephen Williams and JCW as well. Those guys are absolutely close, doing a really good job out there. Bobby J, unfortunately, looks like he had pedal issues. Pedals decided they were going to have a bit of a failure around lap 13. A real big shame for that one. Really good drive out there tonight, mate. We hope to see you back. Very good speed. Unfortunate to see that happen to you.
Yeah, absolutely. We were loving the first sights of you on track, Bobby J. So hopefully you pop back in next week. Certainly got the speed to contest in the top level with ANZCAR. So we'd love to have you back. It looks like Edward Foster's come to Danny G there, so Foster's just trying to hold out here to get to that critical lap. He's only got 3 to go after this one, and they'll be right there, so he'll be holding on for that one. Probably want to try and run as long as he can, so to get a little bit of extra tyre life, manage it as best he can as well. Andrew Dyson at the moment not looking too affected. Still the fastest car on track, 33.51 last time around. Only Michael Skurlock was close to where he is running, and he did a 53.53, so dropped about 2.5 seconds off the fastest time for these cars as the stint has got on. I think I did want to check as well while we do, Carl. It's just the track temp, 47 degrees I noticed, and I can tell you that is at this time of the race last night we were 10 degrees cooler. So a huge difference between tonight and last night.
Yeah, it's quite a long track indeed, and that's going to be hurting the right front a little bit. The right front on these cars tends to be a little bit troublesome on this track. Of course, the Cup cars have got a little bit more downforce to play with.
Sorry, Carl. Hamish Gallagher got right up onto the marbles in the top of the corner. He's just collected the wall, and fortunately, Stevie Williams and Josh Carroll weren't able to get through.
I was just about to say you don't scrub up as much as Hamish Gallagher proves that you can scrub up. But that's it. If you catch the marbles, all of a sudden it does get loose on. It does get really loose on you. It does get pretty bad. But the car doesn't tend to be as tight as the Xfinity car because it has a little bit more downforce to it. So you don't tend to have that problem of the tyres getting so scrubbed up. Meanwhile, Wally's got a good run on Josh Micklemore up the front. This battle's been going on all race long for the lead, the P2 position. And Wally is once again working his way back to the top of the field. Wally's on that high line. He's going to get a good run off the corner here, as Josh Micklemore just loses a little bit of rear on the exit of that corner, and that's given Wally the chance to overtake there.
Yeah, absolutely. So Andrew Dyson here, I don't reckon he'll jump. No, he has taken straight away. So this is the critical lap. Oh, it looks like he might have maybe just been going a little quick there on the way into pit lane. We'll see if anything comes of that. As you can see there, it was Barry Neal just taking the cone out on his way in, and Danny G jumping in as well. So Hamish Gallagher. So starting to see these pit lane entrants get new tyres. They'll fuel up to the end here. They will be able to make it if we stay green. So even if we don't stay green, they'll make it. But certainly if it stays green until the end, they'll be able to make it here. Oh, wow.
Josh Micklemore doing a really cheeky job there. Wally just showing that little bit of inexperience there on the ovals. He just needed a little bit longer to check up and get into pit lane, losing a bit of time in his pit entry there. And that's something that is very hard to do. It's not an easy thing. You look at pit entrance here, you look at the pit lane, and it doesn't look like it's all that hard to get into because it's just a pit lane. You're coming in at a ridiculous speed as Wally just misses his pit box and runs a little bit too far forwards, and he has to do a bit of an Austin Powers manoeuvre to get the car into the right position. Really unfortunate for Wally. This is going to cost him so many spots. He's still having to adjust that car, unfortunately. to get it in the right spot. That's a disastrous stop for Philip Worley, and that is truly a disaster for him. Not good news indeed. Jaden Russell's keeping it out there though. He's managed to stay out a couple of extra laps. This is going to be crucial for him later in the stint. So he's going to have a little bit more fuel. He'll be able to run a little bit harder than the rest if he needs to, but he'll also have a little bit fresher tyres towards the end of the stint. He's going to lose time. He's going to lose time, of course, out there at the moment. But if a caution flag were to fly right now, it could be very useful for him. But yeah, that's going to cost him a little bit there. And Andrew Dyson.
All right, with him, there was a mistake on pit entry for him. He copped a penalty in pit lane, and he is now dropped back a number of positions.
Indeed, and that's problematic. Luke Trahere has taken the lead of the race. I said watch out for Luke later in this stint. He's managed to keep it out there with Dave Douglas. So Double D, Dave Douglas as well, doing the long job out here tonight. They're going to try and keep it out for as long as they possibly can, just in case that caution flag does fall. You can see Luke Trahere is actually clutching it into the corner right there, trying to save a bit more fuel. I think he's actually spluttering to a stop, so I think he is absolutely on the limit of fuel there. I think he's actually out of it. As he runs a bit wide, he might cop a penalty for that one, unfortunately. And that's one of the problems when you do run out of fuel, when you are clutching it and you don't have the engine power. The car doesn't turn as it would before, and it can catch you out.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's getting refuel there. He'll get that one back underway. We'll keep an eye on whether or not he does get a penalty. But it means for the minute, Mr. Shane Matty Ray out in front in the 83 entry. Car still looking pristine as he makes his way around for another lap. He won't have too many to go, but he will be not our last stopper because he's already pitted on lap 42. So he'll stick out there for a little while, but he will get eaten up, you feel, towards the end of the stint. As Luke Trahere, unfortunately, did get a penalty for that pit lane entry, so he is still in pit lane as we speak.
Yeah, really unfortunate there, and as I was saying, it's not an easy thing to do, doing green flag pit stops in these cars, coming into pit lane at speeds of 260 kilometers per hour, and the brakes on these things are the size of small cough sweets, so they cough sweets are probably stickier and would probably do a better job of braking you as well, so they're not the best things in the world for you, but they are very easy to lock up, they are very easy to make mistakes on. So it is a hard thing to do, come making green flag stops in these cars. And good result from everybody, although we saw a few mistakes. The fact that we didn't see anybody having a massive crash or spinning or anything like that is always a good sign in those pit stops.
Trahere's got a massive penalty here. He's still stationary. Surely he's got that thing restarted. Yeah, it's still stationary. This is a huge penalty. It's he's up to nearly 2 minutes pit time. He's been stationary for 1:40, so I don't know what's going on there, but seems a little bit out of kilter with just running a little wide on the entry. Perhaps something's gone wrong for him.
He might be swearing loudly and practicing with a punching bag as well, just out of frustration with that one, unfortunately. Shame for Luke Trahere there. That was it was looking to be an interesting little strategy for him. That could have worked out quite well towards the end of the race, but not so much for him in that respect. The person it's working for at the moment is Maddie Raymond, up front in the 83. The SRM team getting their car out in the lead at the moment, and he'll be hoping to see a yellow flag appear relatively soon. If a yellow flag appears, he'll be... I would say he wouldn't be too displeased with it.
I think we may have had another server issue there because Jaden Russell is out of the race.
And Luke Trahere as well, actually. We've lost Russell and Trahere, unfortunately.
Yeah, so that's very, very unfortunate. I think they both might have succumbed to the same issue as Aiden Schultz did. That also meant that we had Neil Pearson drop a lap as well. So none of that is good at all for those guys. And it looks like that's exactly what's happened. Maybe just a disconnect there. So not good.
Look, this is the problem, as I said, it's the equivalent of Full Metal Racing when you have an engine go pop on you or a suspension arm decide it's going to break or anything like that. Unfortunately, it's the mechanical failure, you've got to call it. but it is never fun to have a failure in that respect, because losing connection is never an enjoyable feeling. Oh, somebody's had a bit of a moment up in front of Maddie Raymond. Neil Pearson has got into somebody, I think, so there was a big plume of smoke as Neil Pearson and Barry Neal just got into each other. Neil Pearson did a great job of recovering that car. The fact he did not crash into the wall is a great job of driving there.
Probably not totally surprised given the driver you're talking about. So Pearson, we know, can steer that number 9 DPR entry, but Barry Neal now looking to make his way back down underneath and does so effectively. He's on newer tyres than Pearson. Pearson stopping on lap 48, so he's by current standards on old rubber in comparison to the rest of the field.
Yeah, he's using the same strategy as Maddie Raymond to get himself back on the lead lap and to just hope for a caution to come out to get him back in this race effectively. It's the only thing he can do, really. It's not much else that he can hope for in this race. Meanwhile, up the front, Andrew Dyson's just about to get himself his lap back. He's right on the back of Maddie Raymond, and he's just going to go underneath him and get that position back. And a little bit further back from Mr. Matty Ray, you'll see Josh Micklemore climbing his way up. He's broken free of his teammate Jason Martin. Edward Foster in 4th and Michael Skurlock in 5th position at the moment. And apparently unfortunately the iRacing servers have been a little bit iffy tonight. They've not been behaving themselves, so obviously iRacing need to employ some more hamsters for the server wheels to keep them running a little bit smoother.
So it's uncommon, actually. iRacing server's reasonably reliable, but maybe the lockdown in Sydney, where this one runs from, is suffering from lack of attention over the lockdown. But who knows? Of course, I only jest. But I reckon Edward Foster and Michael Skurlock here just in conservation mode. Only 3 seconds off the lead of this race, which effective race leader is Josh Micklemore. In fact, real race leader now is Josh Micklemore, I say that. He moves into 1st position. So that's not that far. We saw last night a close down of around about 5 seconds from Ruben Phelps to get up into the top 5. So that's the distance that they need. If they can manage their tyres well enough, then it should be a good thing for them as we get to the close of the race. So on lap 81 and 130, so if we go green from here, they will be in a good position to finish this race out strongly, you'd think.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, if they can keep those tyres nice and in a good operating temperature and condition, they'll be looking good for the end of the race. We did see that tyre conservation was absolute king. Meanwhile, Jason Martin, speaking of kings, gets underneath Maddie Raymond. Maddie Raymond tries to get the position back, can't quite hold off Jason Martin on those old tyres. Martin does get that position. So it's a Mitch Motorsport 1-2 at the moment, Josh Micklemore and Jason Martin.
Just a big cheerio to the Locked On lads who've jumped on with a rating party of 5 and joined the stream on Twitch. Thanks very much, fellas. Hope you're all well, and good to see you out and about doing what you do.
Yes, a big hello to all of them, and big shout out to Locked On Lads and the podcast for keeping everybody up to date on all the racing news and keeping everybody up to date on the ANZCAR side of things as well. Big thank you for them for helping us out with that one.
Yeah, of course, I do have an entry in the Oz Pro Am Sim Series on a Tuesday evening. So they've got the, pretty sure it was the BMW. I've looked at a lot of cars over the week, cutting out all those liveries for the stream, but pretty sure they're running the Big Bertha BMW in that series as well. So if you are a fan of what the Locked On lads do, then jump on the On Pass stream on a Tuesday night and have a look.
Yeah, it's nice to see those colours on the car and see them out and about as well. A good bunch of lads and good Discord as well if you fancy catching up with those guys as well. Very, very nice bunch of chaps. Meanwhile, Micklemore is in the lead. He's just getting through quite a few lapped cars at the moment. He's managed to work his way through them and build up a bit of a gap to his teammate Jason Martin over a second. They've got about 2.5 seconds over Foster at the moment. Maddie Raymond is just falling into the grasps and falling past Michael Skurlock. So those tyres are absolutely falling apart for Mr. Maddie Ray now. He's going to be struggling a little bit, and I imagine we'll see him probably think about coming into pit lane in the next 10 laps or so. So wouldn't be surprised to see himself and Neil Pearson looking to come into pit lane in about 10 laps time, and slap a new tyres on them, put a bit more go juice in there, and then try their best to do something for the end of the race. And of course, they'll keep it out as long as they can, just in case that caution does fall. Meanwhile, Dave Douglas in 13th position is making hay while the sun shines on those fresh tyres. Remember, he stayed out that little bit longer than everybody else in the 199. He's just catching up to Mirko Dortnak at the moment in the 62. He's having a good run there on those slightly fresher tyres. He's not got any fuel to worry about at all. He can just absolutely charge it to the finish now, and he's going to be like a raging bull through the field.
Yeah, I was just taking a look there as Hamish Gallagher was under pressure from Joshua Carroll-Walden, and this is forming into a bit of a queue here. We've got Gallagher, Carroll-Walden, Urquio. Williams not too far off the back of this grouping either, so we've got a pack of 4 here, and or pack of 5 I should say, and this is going to be an interesting one as these guys battle it out. Of course, they are going to be using up that right-hand front tyre with this group, trying to push hard. JCW does it the only way he knows how. He moves down onto the inside there. Of course, you'll see Hamish Gallagher get a better run off the corner here on the exit of the corner. And as they come down the straight, it'll be a drag race, and the 35 will pull in. Joshua Carroll-Walden behind Hamish Gallagher, not quite able to get the job done there yet. But there's a bit of sense in just sitting there and managing the race for a little bit. Not under too much pressure from Lachlan Urquio behind him. And just to conserve the tyres, we've got there 42 laps left in this one, so there's still a long way to go on this tyre set, and of course there's never a guarantee of a caution that's going to help them freshen those up, so not in the worst position. I'll tell you what is happening is that Edward Foster as well under scrutiny from Michael Skurlock, and the gap to Jason Martin is closing, down under a second now.
Yeah, I was going to say about Hamish Gallagher, he has got that bit of damage to the right front of the Bad Blood Mitch Motorsport car, so that's going to hamper him a little bit in the straight line speed, so that's going to affect him a little bit, and that's why that group has bunched up right behind him as well, I'd say. But while these guys are battling, that's going to be helping out people like Ruben Phelps, who's trying to catch up to this group. They're about 5 seconds off at the moment, with Mirko Dortnak and Dave Douglas in relatively close contention, but as those guys start fighting on, it's going to help the rest of them catch up, which is often the case. You can see Skurlock is starting to apply the screws to Foster at the moment. He's putting as much pressure on as he can, with Neil Pearson just sitting behind him at the moment on those slightly older tyres. He's falling back a little bit in time, and he's just sitting there just cursing that connection issue from earlier on, where he no doubt would have been fighting in this lead group if he had not have had that issue earlier on. And I imagine he'll be thinking about coming into pit lane soon as well.
And in fact, he has done immediately, as you predicted again, Nostradamus today. You're just seeing here, Phil Worley, I should say, my apologies, Phil Worley just trying to get underneath Justin Witcher, not quite able to get that done. He's trying to catch back up onto the back of Dave Douglas. Mirko Dortnak in front of him, goes down on the inside. Looks like he's got a little bit of pace now in the 233 DPR entry. He dropped a long way down during that last round of pit stops.
Yeah, unfortunate mistake. He just overshot his pit stop, had to reverse back to get in there, and then just could not quite snatch reverse gear, it looks like. So he lost a lot of time in pit lane. Worley was in pit lane for a good 56 seconds, almost 57 seconds. However, his teammate Andrew Dyson was in there for a minute 20 due to that penalty. So Dyson copped it a lot harder. So that's why he's so far down after that great qualifying performance earlier on in this race. Worley getting up past Justin Witcher now. He's going to be chasing down Mirko Dortnak, and then we'll have Dave Douglas in his sights as well. Meanwhile, the battle up between Urquio, JCW, Stephen Williams, and we've got Matty Raymond in there as well. Matty Ray is still fighting it out on those old tyres. He's done 50 laps so far. He is really going for it as they go free wide through the corner there, and they make that work. Just about there. They would have breathed a deep breath there as Neil Pearson going free wide between Jackson and Raymond there. So that was that was a moment of deep inhalation of breath, but they managed to make it work. Of course, Neil Pearson on those very fresh tyres, he's going to have a good run on them now.
Deep inhalation of breath. Very, very good. I like it. Davy G just out in no man's land at the moment. He's just trundling around, doing reasonable lap times, matching the pace of those in front of him as things go. And yeah, he's 3 seconds adrift of Michael Skurlock. He's got a good gap of 3.5 seconds to Hamish Gallagher. So just jogging on the spot a little bit at the moment. Edward Foster and Michael Skurlock still within reaching distance of one another, and Matty Raymond has decided enough is enough, and he has jumped into pit lane.
Yeah, it's that time for him to do it. He's going to have 35 laps now on those fresh tyres. He's going to drop back a fair amount of positions, which is going to be unfortunate for him, but he is going to try and make it work from there. It's not worked out for him a couple of weeks now for Matty Ray. He's been running a slightly counter strategy to the rest of the field, hoping for a caution that's not come. It's been a couple of weeks in a row he's been hoping for that yellow flag to fly, and it's not come out for him when he's needed it.
Yeah, the quality of the racing in ANZCAR continues to be extremely high. We just keep going through these races without any caution periods.
Yeah, it's we've had quite a few laps under green recently, haven't we? It's what we had 97 last night. So yeah, a fair few laps, and then the truck race as well. There was only a couple of cautions in that one as well. So it's been extremely good green flag racing recently, which is always what we love to see. It's a very different nature racing and fighting in green flag conditions, because sometimes you're almost banking on that caution to come out to help you out, as Stephen Williams is making a bit of a move now. You can see on your screens getting underneath JCW, trying to make a bit of a move on Lachlan Urquio as well. Stevie Dub just getting a little bit of oversteer on the exit of that corner. The back end just steps out a little bit. This is going to give JCW the run back into that position, but Stevie Dub's going to be on the inside once more. Sounds like Hamish Gallagher's just lifting off the throttle a little bit as well. He's just having to make it breathe as Stephen Williams just getting very loose there on the exit. Managed to keep it going. That's the important thing. Kept it in a straight line after that back end stepped out, but he's going to have to let that car breathe a little bit now. Let those tyres just cool off a tiny bit before he goes back to attacking. Justin Witcher, meanwhile, has got Mirko Dornak on his tail. He's closing up pretty closely. And Philip Worley has managed to get past those two as well. He's chasing down Dave Douglas. Worley, of course, on a really good charge at the moment. He's on the same tyres as everybody else, but he is charging through the field. Dave Douglas is on the freshest tyres in the top, about the top 20, I'd say, at the moment. So he is doing a good job out there on fresh rubber.
Yeah, he did run longest with Luke Trahair, but unfortunately Trahair succumbing to the server issues that have plagued us a little bit tonight in this race. So on the freshest tyres there, Philip Worley pitted lap 66, so no right to have the extra speed. Obviously managed the tyre very well so far throughout the stint, and is enjoying the benefit of that.
Yeah, remember he was quite quick as well in qualifying. Those DPR cars were all very quick in qualifying conditions. Worley starting in third position, I think it was, or fourth position. He was starting on the second row. Lachlan Urquio, meanwhile, has made a move on Hamish Gallagher. He's managed to get up past Gallagher into sixth position. So it's been a good run, and yes, thank you, Aidan. It was a green flag run at Indy as well. I was trying to remember where we were actually in the trucks last time out, and my brain just completely failed on me, as it has been a week of commentating this week. Too many races this week, too many laps gone by, but we've had, if this race continues on green, it would have been 3 green races in a row.
Well, and if we really want to push our luck, it's actually been 5 green races in a row, because of course there were no caution periods at Road America during either the Cup or the Xfinity Series last week. So that's why it feels like we've had a whole heap of green flag racing, because we've had 5 races basically without a caution period.
Yeah, that's it. And Oz Pro-Am as well. So
it just goes on and on and on. But it's good. It's great. Well, that's what we want to see.
Absolutely. Foster, meanwhile, has a fast-charging Welsh Dragon on his tail. Breathing fire out of his exhaust is Michael Skurlock as he closes on the back of the Australian brawler Edward Foster. The battle is on between these two titans of the ANZCAR series. Foster has been holding on in front of Skurlock for a fair amount of time. Skurlock has had to look at the back of the 53 lap after lap, so no doubt Skurlock will be eager to get past Foster relatively soon.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to come up with a new nickname for him again if he wins, so we can continue to expand that list that he has to his name, Michael Skurlock. So we'll see how he gets on. But Ed Foster at the moment, he's been a little more conservative on this new tyre set, and that will no doubt play in his favour again towards the end of the race. So has Michael Skurlock. So question is, how much have the Mitch Motorsport boys, Josh Mickelmore and Jason Martin, burnt that rubber during the early part of the stint? As you just see there, I think that's Barry Neal getting underneath Edward Foster on much fresher tyres. So we've got 26 laps to go here. ANZCAR Cup Series and FGM eCast coming to you from Atlanta. And at one stop, no caution periods. It's been all green flag running, and the track temperature is extremely high tonight. We've got 40, so it's dropped now, 44 degrees, but still extremely hot. Only 44.
Only 44. Right. You have to put your jumper on out there, I reckon.
Plenty of people who would be quite grateful to be only 44, of course.
Yes, those crazy people that can actually survive in heat. As Hamish Gallagher just gets a little bit tight on the exit of turn number 4, but he managed to save it and get a good run on Lachlan Urquio this time round. So the battle is still on for 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and going to be 10th position in a bit of time as well, as Ruben Phelps is just hunting onto the back of this pack. Meanwhile, Dave Douglas has got a group of cars on his 6. He's got Philip Worley, Justin Witcher, and Mirko Dortnack there as well. So Dave Douglas is having to do a lot to defend that position at the moment, trying to defend P11 from a very fast charging Philip Worley. But you've got to say, Philip Worley might have just used up a bit too much life in those tyres early in that stint, because he did go very fast, but he's still showing some good pace at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on that battle, because that is very close indeed. We've still got some good fights going out on track. The top of those fights, of course, is Foster and Skurlock. That battle that has been raging on all race long almost. But next up is the battle between Urquio down to JCW, Joshua Carroll Walden. So that battle is really raging on nicely.
Yeah, there's plenty still to resolve here. I also got Nigel Patton. He's being harassed by Andrew Dyson, who unfortunately did get a pit lane penalty, which is why you see him in the unfamiliar position of 18th. So he's having to work extra hard to get himself back up through the pack.
Most importantly, though, he has managed to get himself back up past Josh Mickelmore, so he is on the lead lap. So if the yellow flag does fall, then he has got the chance of getting back onto the tail of this pack and possibly fighting his way up the field. That, of course, is if a yellow flag does fall, because it's not a certainty tonight, because we've seen some good driving and we've seen some great saves as well tonight. A few of these few moments out there that could well have been cautions that did not end up happening, as Mickelmore just gets past Dyson this time round, so Dyson just dropping back a lap again. So Dyson is going to be very eager to try and get back past Mickelmore, so to keep on that lead lap, because it's crucial for him. But Dyson, of course, will have been using up a bit more tyres than Mickelmore, I'd say, pushing his way up the field, so he might be suffering a little bit with tyre wear now. Yeah,
there was quite a gap there. I just wondered if there might have been a little bit of contact between himself. I didn't catch the car in front, actually. I'm not familiar with the livery of it. I think it might have been Nigel Patton. Not entirely sure there, though, so see if we can catch that number. But I'm just wondering if there's a little bit of damage or contact between the two, because you can see where that car is in front. That's the car that Dyson was fighting with there. It's just about to come under the bottom of the screen behind Parry Anastakis there. And I believe that is Nigel Patton. So I'm not too sure. Carl, if you can have a check if you can, because he's just dropped off very, very much against where he was positioned on track.
Yeah, so what happened there is you can actually see on the front of Dyson's car that it's a bit wrinkled on the right-hand side there. You can see the damage model in full effect on the right front. Dyson just got into Patton's, just into the back end of Patton, just close enough that the dirty air just disturbed the car. And of course the physics in iRacing causing that car to get disturbed and run up the track and hit the barrier a little bit. So that's damaged the front of Dyson's car, and that's going to cost him a lot of time. And it's costing him a lot of time because now Matty Raymond's catching up on those fresher tyres. So Matty Raymond, who came in for his second stop, is the first of the two stoppers in the field now. He's the highest up, so he is racing very well, and he's going to get past Andrew Dyson relatively soon, and you'd say he'd catch up to Nigel Patton and Parry Anastakis without too much issue as well as this race goes on. We've got 17 laps remaining here. Matty Raymond might be able to make up a few more positions tonight, but he will be, as I say, hoping for a caution to possibly help him out once he gets past Josh Micklemore.
Notice as well, Neil Pearson is out. I don't know if again he's succumbed to the server issue that dropped him out at the start of this one, and I hope not, but it's not been a good night for those things at all. So it's a pity to see Neil cop that on his return to the series.
Yeah, big shame for Neil. Neil's actually had a big moment going on the back straight. He's actually run up a little bit too high, hit the wall pretty hard, and then had to come into pit lane. So he had some actual damage there. So I think that might have been more of a damage issue and a sort of moment of just annoyance and just feeling a little bit, just a little bit of frustration there as the damage hit the car. As I thought I saw somebody blinking then.
Well, in the meanwhile, we've got Stephen Williams, Hamish Gallagher and Lachlan Urquhart all trading positions at the moment. Williams on the low line, just getting underneath Hamish Gallagher there, and Joshua Carroll-Walden is jogging on the spot in the background, waiting to take up a position as well. So this battle, this has been going on now for a good 20 laps. In fact, basically since the pit stop. We've got 15 to go here. They pit on lap 67. This is sort of when they all join together. As you can see, Hamish Gallagher there getting right up on the back of Lachlan Urquhart to jump on board now and ride with Hamish Gallagher. Just up in that high line now. We did see that late in the race last night as well. That high line got a little bit of speed into it as well. So see if the drivers have the same experience here tonight. But Hamish Gallagher was right up on the back of Lachlan Urquhart. Got a lap car there, the 550 entry of Tristan Cock as well that they're having to contend with.
Just jumping up a little bit in a moment because Skirley is all over the back of Foster as well. The 350 is all over the 53, so this battle is going on. I think Skurlock has decided to press the go button as he has decided it's now time to put the rest of those tyres to use, as he started catching Foster hand over fist and is really starting to apply the pressure as we go on here. So just keeping an eye on both of these battles at the moment. This is the tricky part, of course. So the battle up the front between Foster and Skurlock it's very much so. They've been battling it out since that pit stop as well. And you can see they're closing up to Jason Martin as well. So this battle could be for P2 relatively shortly. So this race has still got some surprises still to throw. We've got 12 laps remaining here at Atlanta Motor Speedway here for the ANZCAR Cup on FGM eCast.
Yeah, we did call it, Carl. We said that they were going to close up on the back of Jason Martin. They were 2 tenths quicker last time around, the pair, Foster and Skurlock, and you can see if they keep working this way, they'll get up onto the back of Jason Martin. We could see a double change for position here. Josh Micklemore, 2.5 seconds up the road. That may be a little bit far reaching for them, but certainly Jason Martin's going to be in the crosshair.
All it takes is a momentary lap of sort of concentration, and it's not something we see very often from somebody like Josh Micklemore, but it can happen to the very best of us, and you can lose those seconds very, very quickly. It's going to be tricky now for Foster as they're coming up to some traffic as well. If you're not used to this style of racing, traffic doesn't have to get out your way. Blue flags are not a thing. You don't have to jump out the way of the leaders. You don't have to worry about that. You have to race to get past the traffic here. You don't have to you don't have to worry about that. As a little bit further back, Stephen Williams just getting up into the barrier, just getting a big tail slide. He's going to lose a position to Ruben Phelps here, as Phelps is going to just try and get underneath him. Stephen Williams is really trying to hold on to that position as it stands. Can't quite make it work this time around, but Phelps is going to get a good run across the quad oval section, across the start-finish line. He should get a good draft here coming into turns 1 and 2. He's going to try and go low. Again, Ruben Phelps getting good pace towards the end of the race, showing his usual style of working his way up the field. Hopefully, he'll get a little bit of better qualifying result next time, because that's been his Achilles heel as of late for Ruben Phelps. His qualifying has been a little bit trickier for him than the actual racing, but he is really pushing with Stevie Dub there, side by side, so close to each other there. Bit of cigarette paper between those two cars.
Yeah, absolutely. Phelpsy there just getting nice and close, not quite able to close it out. Tell you what is getting closer and closer is this battle here. So we've got Edward Foster, Michael Skurlock, you can see they're right up on the back now. Jason Martin half a second away, and they're still tenths to 2 tenths quicker that time around. So the gap is closing as we've got a lap car in the way now. Not in the way, that's the wrong terminology. We've got a lap car to contend with before they get up onto the back of Jason Martin as well. So this one is going to close right up.
As Phelps makes the move on Williams, he did the dummy up and down on Williams. Great move from Ruben Phelps there, catching Stephen Williams off guard, which is not an easy thing to do. The current Truck Series champion in Stevie Dub. We know that he is very quick indeed, and you have to wake up early in the morning to catch him off guard. But it looks like Ruben has done that indeed. Maybe the time zone difference, of course, helping out Ruben Phelps there, giving him the little bit of advantage of being up a little bit earlier and catching Stevie Dub out there.
Good move there from Phelps. He's only a second behind Carol Walden, Hamish Gallagher and Lachlan Urquio, so you can see the gap there on screen. He's got 7 laps to get it done, and at the moment he was a little slower than those in front that he is chasing. But fair to say that now that he is free of Stephen Williams, that gap will close down quickly.
And the gap is closing down quickly between Foster and Skurlock. Skurlock's going to try and make a move here. He's got down on the inside of Foster right here. He's going to try and make the move into turns 3 and 4. Skurlock going down the inside in the 350. The Welsh Dragon is going to try and make the move on the Aussie brawler of Edward Foster. He's holding that inside line well. Foster's going to run up a little bit higher this time round to give him a little bit better driver off the corner. You'll see him get a nose ahead here. He's going to try and chop down in front of Skurlock. Will he be able to do it? Can't quite get ahead enough. Skurlock's got that inside line still. Skurlock's going to get a good run off this corner as Foster's back end is just stepping out a little bit. Skurlock's just going to be side by side with Foster down the back straight here, and there is a lap car that is a lap down in Andrew Dyson running with them at the moment. Dyson is all over the back of them, just saying, look, if I didn't have that penalty, guys, I would be racing you for these positions at the moment. Dyson is holding on to this battle, but you can see with Skurlock and Foster, it is side by side as they go across the line once more. This is going to be good news for Jason Martin, as we've got 3.5 laps remaining. So the laps are closing down as Foster and Skurlock fight. This is going to help Jason Martin maintain that second position. Still side by side for Skurley and Foster at the moment. The 350 and 53 at the moment, battling it out side by side, door to door as they go around Atlanta.
As Edward Foster here tries to hold out again. So go around for another lap. He's going to still be side by side with Michael Skurlock. Indeed. It's a good run off the high line there. So still able to keep a nose in front. Skurley's going to pull in behind. Probably let the tyres just cool off for a second and then probably have another run at it again as we get towards the end of this race here at Atlanta. Jason Martin's checked out now. He is nearly a full second up the road. Josh Mickelmore currently running in first position. So this is the battle for the balance of the podium here
As just a little bit further back, Hamish Gallagher's trying to make a move on Lachlan Urquio. He tried to make the move, couldn't quite make it stick that time round, but that battle is still very close. There's also a huge battle going on between Douglas, Worley, Dortnack and Witcher as well. Those three are absolutely side by side at the moment. We've got some great battles going on throughout the pack as Josh Micklemore crosses the line as the white flag comes out. He's got 1 lap left to go. Skurlock is going to probably try and make his move here. He's going to go up high here on Foster, see what he can do. He's going to try that high line, try and drop down, get a bit of a draft on Foster and try and get him into turn at number 3. He's going to get the run here. Will Foster be able to do it? Foster's trying to break that toe a little bit. He drops down. He's going to keep defending here, but it's going to be Josh Micklemore who's going to cross the line first, as the battle is still going on for that position. But Josh Micklemore is going to cross the line and take the win here at Atlanta. Jason Martin second, Foster's going to be third, Skurlock fourth. Danny G will come home in 5th. Hamish Gallagher, meanwhile, side by side. There's contact with JCW and Lachlan Urquio. Big impact between those drivers. Hamish Gallagher managing to get best out of that one. As they get across the line, this has helped Ruben Phelps get up to P8. Stevie W up into P7. JCW dropping back to P9 with Lachlan Urquio back in 10th position.
Oh, wow, contact right at the end there. That's not ideal. But the Mitch Motorsport boys, once again, a 1-2. Josh Micklemore, I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so, taking out the win here tonight. If I were a betting man today, I would have cleaned up. But not to be the case. A great drive there from Josh Micklemore to manage the tyres through the stint. Carl, 2 single stop races in a row. Guys getting the job done here. Jason Martin just managing as well there. And still plenty of fuel left, obviously, in the 31 Mitch Motorsport entry of Josh Micklemore as he lights them up on top of the signage there at the start-finish line. A really strong run from him. Edward Foster just getting home in 3rd, and that management of the tyres helping him out. Skurley just missing out, and as I said, a little bit of carnage there at the end. We'll get a replay of that one up onto our socials over the next day or so. Of course, unfortunately, our replay stream not working tonight, but we'll get that up on there to cover off that incident there where JCW got a little bit loose.
Yeah, it was a bit of a freeway loose moment for Gallagher, JCW and Urquio there. They were 3 abreast as they were coming to the start-finish line, and all of a sudden they made contact, and it opened the sea for Ruben Phelps to work his way up, as well as Stephen Williams. Stephen Williams, one of the big gainers of the night, 13 positions himself, and Ruben Phelps actually tying out for that honour. Both of them gaining 13 positions tonight in 7th and 8th there. So let's run through the finishing order. So Josh Micklemore does take out the victory for Mitch Motorsport with his teammate Jason Martin in 2nd. Edward Foster for Natari in 3rd. The Welsh wonder Michael Skurlock in 4th with Danny G in 5th. Hamish Gallagher 6th with Stephen Williams in 7th. 8th for Ruben Phelps. 9th for JCW Joshua Carroll-Walden. And 10th for Lachlan Urquio. We had Dave Douglas in 11th position with Philip Worley in 12th after that mistake in pit lane. Mako Dortnack came home 13th with Justin Witcher 14th. Maddie Raymond 15th on that 2-stop strategy, managing to make it home in a relatively decent finishing position with Raymond Yeager 16th. 17th was Nigel Patton. Andrew Dyson 18th after that pit lane penalty. Parry Anastakis in 19th with Norman Clark 20th. 21st was Phil Otto with Paul Jackson 22nd, 23rd for Tristan Koch, Adam Rosell 24th, Barry Neal 25th, and then we had some retirements in Neil Pearson, Traher, Jaden Russell, Bobby J, and Aiden Schultz, unfortunately unable to take the start due to internet issues, server issues that took out quite a few people at the beginning of the race, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are joined by our top 3 drivers tonight, Edward Foster, Jason Martin, and race winner Josh Micklemore. Gentlemen, welcome into the booth at the end of another week of Cup racing. And Ed, we'll start with you. Should I say a managed run for the second stint in the race?
Definitely in the second stint. It was a case of trying to do a better job than I did in the first, obviously. I really can't explain what happened in that first stint. Like, I was perfectly comfortable. The car was rotating well. Everything was absolutely fine. And then I just lost a little bit of momentum. Dyson, started to push and he came up and made a move, and I was quite happy to let him go, and I was quite happy to let even Wally go. But just that loss of momentum sort of killed me. And then I started to get real loose, and that was okay. You know, you can manage that. And then like a light switch, the car just went to tight. And I've got no idea why, but it was way too tight to do anything about. And then, you know, the Mitch boys and Skirley and everything went by, and wasn't able to do too much. So when I came out on the second set of tyres, I was very conscious of trying to just drive a little bit differently, making them last a little bit more, just being a little bit gentle. And, it paid off. So great battle with Skirley there at the end, and I was trying my best to close down old Jace in front and see if we could have another one of our famous battles. But then old Skirley stuck his nose in, and we weren't able to do that anymore. But it was a great battle with him anyway. So, it was great.
Yeah, absolutely. We were covering you there. You guys look like you were just managing your race together, and then Michael Skurlock decided that it was time to go, and you had to respond. You guys were catching on to the back of Martin, but the fighting between you just opened that gap up and allowed Jason a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah, it seemed to be. I mean, who can predict the future, and would have known what would have happened if I was able to get to Jason's bumper or not, who knows. But, it would have been interesting to try it. But, you know, Skirley's obviously wants that P3 for himself, and he's seeing the laps tick down, and he knew he had to make a move, so I wasn't surprised to see him go for it. And as soon as I saw him stick the nose down the inside, I'm like, that's it. I've got to forget about Martin now and just focus on hanging on to P3, which I did, and thankfully we managed to get that done.
Absolutely. So, as usual, mate, just a quick call out to the sponsors and love to your mum.
Yeah, obviously. Hey, Mum. But the Bridgestone Select, Two Fat Blokes Race Magazine, and FGM eCast, of course. AJ Insurance Services as well. We'll give them a little plug because I wasn't out in the Xfinity last night. So, and obviously congratulations to both these two boys finishing in front of us. Too good. You know, these guys operate at such a high level anyway, and I think Micklemore especially, all you have to do is look at the point standings. He's way and clear at the front. He's just driving so well at the moment. I think he's taken a step forward even from the very high standards he normally used to set. So, it's been obviously a lot of guys out there putting in a lot of hard work, and it's really good to see. It's good to see the championship, you know, guys putting in effort, and the fact that it matters to people enough to devote practice and hard work too. It's obviously gratifying for us and the admin team, but at the same time, you've got to respect it as well as far as the hard work and the driving skill and the results that are coming their way as well. So it's great. Yeah,
absolutely. Well said there. So Edward Foster in third position tonight, a well-run race, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Move on to Jason Martin. Jason, a very, very familiar face in the box here, mate. I'm pretty sure one of the seats has actually got your name written underneath it with the amount that you're visiting us at the moment. A very, very good run from Mitch Motorsport once again, and P2 as a reward.
Yeah, thanks, mate. I've found a bit of consistency lately, so pretty happy with that. And it was a pretty quiet race for me, actually. I was just trying to manage the tyres for most of it.
And so with just what Ed touched on there in terms of the way the car changed through the duration of that first stint, did you experience that same change with the car getting tight there all of a sudden?
Yeah, I sure did. I was saving tyres for pretty much the first 20, 30 laps. Then after that, I'd try and start pushing to catch up and make up the ground I lost. But yeah, I think the tyres must be getting too hot or something, because it would just start getting way too tight and wouldn't want to turn. And yeah, but when I looked at the tyre wear when I did my pit stop, they were absolutely fine. So I think it might have been tyre heat.
Yeah, we did have a really high track temperature tonight, so 47 degrees at one stage when we checked it, about 10 degrees up on last night when we ran here in the Xfinity Series, so perhaps that having something to do with it. Mitch Motorsport, again, 1-2, a fantastic result. What is the secret? Can you tell us? Probably not. You don't want to give it away?
Can't tell all of the secrets.
No, obviously a fantastic run there for yourself. We're going to give a quick love out to your sponsors as well before we jump into Josh.
Yeah, you got to thank BK Designs, all the boys at Mitch Motorsports. Pretty great result for all of us. And of course, FMG eCast for broadcasting series.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to mention there as well, Danny G finishing in 5th, which I think you're referring to, and Hamish Gallagher in 6th. So a good result. Jason Martin in 2nd place. Again, just that one to lock out as we move on to Josh Micklemore. Congratulations, Josh. I have to put it out there, mate. I did tip you for the win tonight, so thanks for helping me come through.
Cheers, mate. No bridesmaid tonight.
No, absolutely not. That's very much right. You guys have made a habit, you and Jason are working together at the front of the field to continue to bring home the strong results for Mitch Motorsport. You must be pretty happy.
Yeah, very happy. I haven't won the Cup Series race since Martinsville. That was quite a while ago. So, yeah, it's good. We've been sort of quick, been up there, but haven't been able to get that win since Martinsville. But, yeah, we're pretty on the pace tonight, so it was good to get it done finally.
Yeah, absolutely. And how did you find you sort of had to manage your way through that last stint, getting through the lap traffic there? How did you did that affect your run at all over the balance of that second stint?
Yeah, so there was those lap cars and that trying to get their lap back, and I think it was Phil Aldo, I think, was racing pretty hard to get his lap back, and I finally let him go a bit. But yeah, I did it. It's really hard to pass, so I had to navigate from quickly because I know I had Jason behind me, and he had newer tyres and a little bit more fuel on board than what I did. So I had to sort of manage that and try to, pass these guys efficiently and getting around them and all that sort of thing, and just taking my time, not making any mistakes, try not to make any mistakes, and just try to just keep the car clean and get the win. So
we're having a chat about it in the stream. We're now 5 races, consecutive races through this week without any caution period. Over the last 2 weeks, obviously with the Road America result being a little bit artificial there because there's no caution periods in the circuit racing side of it. But these green flag runs that we're having, all 3 races this week, the trucks, the Xfinity cars, and the Cup Series. We've seen 2 races in a row here where we've had a single stop race. Do you think that's changing the way guys are having to think about driving these cars?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got, instead of all these little short runs with the cautions and whatnot, you got long runs, so you got to think about your tyre wear, you got to think about your fuel, and strategies come into play and all that sort of thing. And, yeah, that definitely does make it a little bit different than the little sprint races between cautions and whatnot. And what ANZCAR have done, changing the field, only letting 30 to 42, I think it's made it a lot better. We're getting a lot more better racing and closer racing. Everyone's sort of racing hard but cleaner as well, and it's showing that obviously we haven't had that many yellows. So
yeah, absolutely. How close on fuel were you at the end of the stint there? Did you have a look?
Yeah, I was 1 lap in the green. I did save pretty hard at the start there.
Yeah, we saw last night a couple of guys just cough and splutter across the line, including Michael Skurlock. They did a good job to manage it last night. But Josh Micklemore, a fantastic run again for you tonight to lead home and yet another Mitch Motorsport 1-2 on FGM eCast as part of the ANZCAR series. Just a shout out to everyone that you want to say hi to.
Yeah, it's the Mitch Motorsport boys. Good night all round for everyone on the team. Good work, fellas. Keep up the hard work we've been doing. Bob King from BK Designs. You guys, FGM eCast, for putting on the broadcast. Always watching back. And also Mum and Dad for watching, and Baxter as well. Cheers for the support, guys. And if you haven't already, give me a follow on Twitch, Mitchy31.
Yeah, definitely do that jump across. But a race well run. Well done, Josh Micklemore. Our podium tonight, Josh Micklemore, Jason Martin and Edward Foster. Congratulations for your races this evening.
All right, cheers, guys.
Carl.
Correct you slightly, Stuart. It's actually been 6 races since we last saw a caution, because we had Kentucky and that was clean. So we've had 455 consecutive laps of clean green flag racing in ANZCAR for the past 6 races. Last time we saw a caution flag was at Pocono. So yeah, that is quite a lot of green flag running.
Well, and of course Pocono, wasn't that circuit as well?
That was a double header with the oval. So
that's what I'm thinking. That was a different setup as well. Yeah, wow, okay. Unbelievable.
Been a bit of time since the old yellow flag's seen a bit of action, so they might have actually lost it. So that might be why we've not seen it. The stewards may have put it somewhere where they've forgotten where they've left it.
Might have to take the truck in and get it serviced. It's going to have some cobwebs, probably not be all that roadworthy by the time it gets back out on track again. But no, look, it's. I think Josh touched on a good point. Of course, the qualifying setup here. It's not necessarily the most popular thing amongst the entire group, but it's achieved the objective, which was to make sure that we had more clean racing. I think towards the start of the season, there, we were at 8 cautions, 9 cautions, 10 cautions in the first half of the year during the racing, and the changes certainly cleaned it up when you look at it like that. We go back and have a look at some streams where there were 10 cautions during a race, and that was admittedly different track type as well, with those shorter tracks that we were running in the early part of the season, but still the same. It has cleaned up the racing.
Yeah, speaking of which, we will be heading back to Martinsville in the trucks next week. So I think that stint of cautions of 3 races will be coming to an end very, very shortly. So we'll be coming back to you with Martinsville next week for the trucks, and then New Hampshire for Xfinity, and I'm pretty sure that's the Cup race as well. Yes, New Hampshire as well. So we'll be heading there, and then Ozpass as well. We'll be heading to the newly opened on iRacing Red Bull Ring, the Österreich Ring, the A1 Ring, for you slightly. That one.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to that Red Bull Ring. That's going to be a good one. But looking forward to everything. It's been a long, long week on FGM Cast. There's absolutely no doubt about it. And a massive thank you to you, Carl, for your ongoing support of everything we're doing here. It is greatly appreciated. But it's been a long one.
It has indeed, and as always, a big shout out and thank you to everybody that has joined us tonight watching live, and to all of you that join us in the future and watch us on the recording. We really appreciate it, and we could not do this without your support. If you can hit that subscribe button, make sure to like the socials, things like that. It does help the channel an enormous amount and keep us going, and it helps us bring you more and more racing coverage, as well as a few better overlays and interesting things in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Big thank you to those who like the stream during the week. We're almost at 200. We want to get there on YouTube, so do that if you don't mind. We appreciate it more than you would know. From Carl Withy and I, Stuart Brown, FGM Ecast, your E-Place for Pace. That is it for us for another week. We will see you on Monday. Enjoy the balance of the week, and we will catch you then.